Relationships are the real currency in life. And so the more, and it's not all about the quantity, it's about the quality as well. So yes, some people say, I have a 30,000 person database.
What's going on, LabCoat agents, LabCoat family? Thank you so much, as always, for tuning in to another incredible jam-packed webinar. And we've got a really, really special topic today and an incredible guest. So I do want to introduce Curtis Lewsey. Now, Curtis is the founder of AM Cards, and he's actually the best-selling author of Appreciation Marketing. That's the AM in AM Cards, which I just learned, which I thought was fantastic. But Curtis, it's an honor and a pleasure to have you on. Thank you so much for taking the time.
No, thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking the time to be able to have a conversation. It's always fun to do this, especially with a rock star like you. If you guys don't know Greg, look him up, Lion Bolt Media and the podcast Real Estate Titans. Man, you're a rock star. So it's a pleasure and honor to be here.
Thank you, Curtis, for the kind words. And the feeling is mutual, my friend. I cannot wait for everybody out there who's tuning in to really learn from one of the best and brightest minds when it comes down to it. And Curtis, you developed an incredible topic for today's webinar, and I cannot wait to dive in. So as it's listed out there, how to take your follow-up game from ordinary to extraordinary in 30 days. And I know this is going to be jam-packed. So before we jump in, I just want to encourage everybody as they're pouring in, if you have thoughts, questions, please, we want this to be interactive. Curtis is huge with that. So we just want to chat with each other. I'll be watching that. So if you guys do have questions along the way, please let me know. And obviously you can catch this if you don't catch the whole thing on YouTube later on. So Curtis, without further ado, where do you want to start, my friend? Following up, all things follow-up. Where do you want to go?
Yeah, well, let's talk about first about the word extraordinary, right? We always talk about the difference between extraordinary and ordinary is that little extra. And extraordinary, the definition is going beyond what is usual, regular, or customary. And why does that extra matter in real estate? Well, it matters a lot because it's such a crowded industry. And what you do with Lion Bolt Media and making sure that their marketing is dynamic and that they're everywhere and you're creating funnels and qualified leads and all this online world, which is really important space to play in, right? People are using social media, and how do you capture that to make sure you're staying in touch with people? Well, one of the things that we created with AM Cards and one of the things that we teach in the book with Appreciation Marketing is blending high tech with high touch and doing things that are different and outside the box, like showing up in somebody's mailbox these days separates you, because showing up in their mailbox versus their inbox is the difference between being remembered or being deleted. And that is one of the little things that you can do to stand out from the competition. And so if you're taking an audit and you're saying, what am I doing for my follow-up right now? Number one, am I even doing it? Because oftentimes, agents are spinning so many plates, they have so much going on, and we forget to send out a birthday card to a past client. We forget to send out a home anniversary card to a past client. We forget to even maybe we're clicking like or making a comment on social media when they have a grandbaby or an important life event. But what's the extra that you can do that separates you? So it's not Bob the realtor. It's Bob, my realtor. And in the minds, what you want is you want everybody to be thinking about you. So there's really two things that you want to make sure that you're doing in order to kind of future-proof your business. Because if you're in real estate as a career and not really a fly-by-night, it's only fun for so long to be able to hammer the phones and call the FSBOs and expireds and do all of this. A lot of people do that inertia and that energy in the beginning, and then over time, as you're building a database, how do you turn the strangers into friends and these friends into these past clients into repeat customers, as well as referring customers? Wow. And so that's one of the top two things that you need to do is make sure you're staying top of mind and showing that you care.
When you talk about that though, Curtis, and I love the fact that people are really going to gravitate toward this and understand it is a people business. And as you alluded to and kind of in the discussion, is follow-up is key, touch points are key. And that old adage, the fortune is in the follow-up. And I think that so many people in the real estate world, they trip over dollars to pick up pennies. Your sphere of influence is so crucially important. And you've developed an incredible way to do that. And I know we're going to dive into it. I want to rewind a little bit. This is off the cuff, Curtis.
Please.
And so I apologize if it throws anything off, but anyone out there who has been living under a rock, who is tuning in, who doesn't know, I guess why you started AM Cards and the process behind that. I mean, you're such a true professional into that realm, and you've really developed this thing to the highest of levels. So I'd love a little context for anyone
Awesome.
who doesn't quite know why. And I didn't mean to throw that off. I should have said that at the very beginning. But it just dawned on me.
I'll tell you that I love that question, and thank you so much for asking it.
Yep.
When I got out of college, I worked for a company called Cintas, and I sold really sexy products like toilet paper and floor mats and air fresheners. Okay, for business to business. I was knocking on every door, every store, and every floor, just trying to drum up my own business. And one thing that I learned that completely changed the whole course of my business was, instead of focusing and looking at people as dollar signs and decimal points, I was looking at them as they had an invisible door behind them that only they could open. And there's a whole bunch of people, and I'm never going to know these people unless they like me, they trust me, they understand me. And so I realized the real secret to business, and that is getting to know people for more who they are, not just what they do.
Wow.
And when you connect with people at a little bit of different level, and you kind of touch them where it matters the most, their heart, you win. And I feel, and I talk about, like, when I do trainings and keynotes and stuff, I talk about like open hearts, open wallets.
Wow.
Think about that for a second. When somebody touches your heart and they speak to you, instantly you feel like I want to give, and it's reciprocal. It's that whole law of reciprocation. So what happened was, I started sending cards when I was at Cintas, and I started looking at people more, and there was a guy, like the drivers that were driving down the streets, they were eyes and ears for me. So when I trained them and shared with them, when you see a sign that says under new management or coming soon, if you could let me know, that would be a huge opportunity. But they would never tell me that unless I got to know them and they know that I cared about them. So I hopped on the truck and I rode around and serviced the accounts that I sold to get to know them, about that they had kids and they were training for a sprint triathlon and those type of things. Now we built that relationship a little bit more, and I stayed in touch with them, and I rewarded the referrals that they gave me. Another key point is, behavior rewarded is behavior repeated. You want more referrals? Do a better job of rewarding the behavior of somebody sending you a referral. Oftentimes people want to reward the contract signed or the commission check. And so those are types of things that I'm going to talk about today, because in the next 30 days, if you want to really put yourself on a rocket ship to be able to generate more repeat and referral business, these are the types of things that you can do. And we're going to get into like the little nitty gritty, because I think it's important. People, oh, that's great. Showing that you care is great. What do I do?
Well said. Well said.
And so that question that actually led me to write the book Appreciation Marketing. And I was on stages all over the country and around the world, and spent 6 months in Australia, and a lot of this different stuff that we did. It was really cool. But like, people were leaving the seminars and they had great intentions to do this stuff. However, there wasn't a simple and easy system for them to implement. It wasn't getting done. So I hired a programmer and we built it. And, in the beginning years, it was very tough. And then we found a couple acquisition strategies that worked. And now we have multiple employees. We have all of our own machinery, our own buildings, and we're growing fast and doing integration stuff. Like, I know we might have some Fowler Boss users right now that are watching these. So we integrated into Fowler Boss, have an embedded app so you can send cards through the integration. We're launching Salesforce in the coming weeks so we can work. So that is kind of like a longer version of what you just asked, because I saw this opportunity and I saw a hole. Because all this stuff we talk about, appreciation marketing, what is it? Well, it's common sense. It's just not common practice. We all have great intentions to do this stuff, Greg. It's just that we don't because it's a pain in the butt. It's a hassle.
Yeah, but when you mentioned that though, Curtis, it's just interesting to kind of see and put ourselves in your shoes as you're really evaluating and understanding the human condition and communication and truly having that ability to connect in a real way. And anybody on this who's in real estate knows it's a people business. I mean, every business is revolved around relationships, but getting to know, like, and trust. And having that ability to stay top of mind, to really be involved in their lives and in a way where it doesn't seem like that much work. And I love the common sense, not common practice sort of mentality that you had just mentioned. And you found an opportunity to serve, entrepreneurs and business professionals with what you have. And I'm on the site right now, amcars.com, so I can see, integrations with Zapier or Zapier, depending on how you pronounce that, Salesforce, Follow Up Boss. I mean, there's so many integrations, but I didn't mean to digress, but I wanted to get to know your path, because I think it inspires people to say, hey, look what Curtis did. He found something and he's helping people and serving. And now let's get into the nitty gritty, which is the details. And I can't wait to dive in. So didn't mean to stop you there.
No, that's awesome. I'm loving the direction of this already, because I think that the context is important. And I like to say that we're more than cards, we're relationships. So if relationships are important to you and your business, then something like this, it could be a real secret weapon. It could be a good tool in your toolbox to be able to build, strengthen, and create relationships. Because at the end of the day, the best investment that we can make in life is in relationships.
Oof.
Relationships are the real currency in life. And so the more, and it's not all about the quantity, it's about the quality as well. So yes, some people say, I have a 30,000 person database. That's great. But I'll tell you what, I have an agent that I work with that has one contact in their database that sends them 10 referrals per month. It's an HR manager of a big company that does government contracts, and people are coming and going, and they're the preferred team that takes care of them. They do over 100 million in sales, and they have 6 people on their team.
Wow.
And so it's that there's a quality relationship that they nurture, they take care of, and they get all of that business.
It's huge. And again, but you're articulating it so well for everybody to really understand. And so I want to dive deeper into this,
let's do it,
because you've got so much information, and I want to make sure that everybody at least gets enough to start to dig into.
Okay, so, perfect.
So let's pick up where we left off, which was the 2 points, kind of the touch points and care. That's where you left off.
Yeah, the stay top of mind and showing that you care. Those are things, because if you show that you care, you're automatically top of mind, right? And let's talk about the top 2 reasons why somebody is not going to come back to do business with you again or refer you business. Okay. And it goes back to the 2 points I just talked about. Number 1 is they don't remember you. They don't remember you. And then the other one is perceived indifference. Now, perceived indifference is a fancy way of saying that you don't care. Now, I know that you care. You know that you care. But if the perception is that you don't care, then guess what the reality is? That you don't care. So what are the things that you can do to show up in their life to be able to show that you care? And now, granted, I'm a big advocate of, grabbing a cup of coffee or grabbing a beer or breaking bread and meeting people in the flesh, like meeting people. I know that it hasn't happened as much since the pandemic and everything. However, that's the best. I think the next best way is showing up in their mailbox and doing something little different and extra, or showing up at the front door with a pie during Thanksgiving, whatever it may be. But those are the types of things that are powerful. So perceived indifference, then you take it and say, okay, what are some of the things that I can do? When I say, let's set up a system in the next 30 days, what I want to ask you is, what are you doing right now to stay in touch with your database? And you say, well, my database is a mess. Well, get it cleaned up. Take the time. You're missing out on a ton of money that is on the table right then and there. So make sure you get that cleaned up. But what is, and then the next thing that you want to do is say, okay, what is one system? If you could be intentional, what I feel is that people get overwhelmed And they got technology this, they got technology that. Everybody's saying go do TikTok this, Facebook Reel that, Instagram this, and they get so overwhelmed they don't even know what direction to go in.
Yep.
Pick one and just start with it, because it's going to get motivating. Because Tony Robbins talks about the definition of like success is progress. And you get doing little things and they start adding up. It starts motivating you more to do more. So
love that.
If you want to set up a follow-up system, let's talk about one thing first. This is what we launch real estate teams and individuals. We work with agents from 1 or 2 deals a month to agents that are doing hundreds a month, thousands a year. So they all have the same issues. They all feel guilty that they're not doing a better job of staying in touch with it. No matter how good they're doing, there's always another level, and there's always something that you can layer on or to become a little bit better at. So here's the top 5 things that we're going to talk about. Number 1 is pick one. I want you to pick one of these 5. And then I'm going to talk about all of these 5 in just a minute and how you can utilize AM cards, or pick your own system. If it's go to Walmart or Walgreens and buy greeting cards, do it. Just do something, and then you can always add on to it. So here's what the top things that I hear. I'd really like to send my clients birthday cards. Okay. That's a great opportunity to celebrate life.
Yeah.
There's do's and don'ts along with that. And we'll touch on that in a second. Home anniversaries. I tell you, I bought my first home, not my first home here in Florida 5.5 years ago. I never received a home anniversary card. I never received the birthday card. I get an email in my spam every 2 weeks, some kind of thing, Great guy, really great guy. I bought another home, considerably more expensive than the first home. And I bought that about a year ago. And a year and a half ago, I purchased 14,000 square feet of commercial real estate. Wow. And so when the anniversaries come around, I'm just kind of shocked that this isn't a part of every agent that just what we do. I understand why they don't, because there's not really systems out there. It's a pain in the butt. And even if you get a reminder, if you make a phone call or just acknowledge that, that's a big deal too. So just make sure that you're putting things in your system to recognize, even if they don't remember, it makes a difference that you do.
Well said.
And then another thing is, some people's like, well, I'd really like to implement some like post-closing drip campaigns. Can we do that? Can we make sure they get a thank you card with maybe a QR code on it that if they scan it, it goes to my review site, in case they haven't done that already? Maybe 60 days later, can we have a card that goes out as something of value, top 20 tips for new homeowners? Or maybe you have an approved vendor list that if they scan a QR code, it brings up a PDF that they can download with vendors in the area of electricians and plumbers, people that you vetted. Those are types of things that a new homeowner it's really adding value to them. How about 6 months later, they get a card just saying, Greg, thank you. I just want to thank you in advance for always thinking about us for your real estate needs. It really referrals really mean the world to us. Just planting that seed, thanking in advance. And then also we have maybe a year later, they get a home anniversary card, and we have that capability to set it and forget it and create automation around it, which is powerful. Now, other things is holidays. It's not even too late to send a Happy New Year card out right now. It's like, everybody took down their holiday stuff a couple of weeks ago and they're putting all their stuff away. Now say, hey, is it just reaching out to say something maybe inspirational? I see a lot of the cards coming through with maybe an inspirational, something along the lines of, hope your year is off to a great start. Want to wish you, continued success, whatever. And then, so holidays are a great way to touch people and reach out. I recommend personally staying away from the Christmas holiday card and trying to be different and maybe show up in their mailbox before Thanksgiving, because that's a time to show appreciation and gratitude.
Wow, love it. And
then also New Year's is a great opportunity as well. Mother's Day cards is another one that's really powerful. To separate in your database the mothers that are in your life and send a nice little message and something like that. So those different holidays throughout the year. But if you're only going to do 3 things, I would highly recommend birthdays, home anniversaries, and pick a holiday. And if that's just 3 cards a year, That's good. Now, the last one that we're going to talk about, and I'm going to jump into the system in just a second to show you the simplicity of it, is
Perfect.
card-worthy life events.
Mm.
We get to see people's lives unfold on Facebook. And we get to see that one of our past customers just had their first grandbaby. And you want to throw that picture on a greeting card and send it out and say, congratulations. It makes the baby book, or it goes inside a picture frame.
Uh-huh. Wow.
You know, those are types of things that are high impact, high value. And so if you're going to choose that one and you say, you know what, I'll just start with that one, because I'll tell you, I'm scrolling through every day and I see that the system that I would recommend is that you time block appreciation marketing once a week for 20 to 30 minutes. Time block. Set the appointment with yourself. And now you need to fill that time with something that's productive, or else something else will fill the time, right? So what my little system is, I screenshot Instagram or Facebook or download the picture, email it to myself. And I don't even open up the email until I'm time blocking. So I can grab that picture, throw it in AM cards, type a little message, click send, done. In the mail, going out the next business day. You can even attach a little gift or send some gourmet fudge brownies or something like that. But it's done. And the reason why I'm kind of waiting for I'm going to jump into the system. I'm not delaying on purpose. I'm going in there. I just wanted to kind of talk about the psychology and the philosophy behind what we're doing, because if that groundwork and that base isn't, then you could have the best systems in the world, but then you don't really have an idea or a drive to go. It's like, kind of have, going down the road, not really know where you're going. So that's kind of what I want to do, is provide some kind of direction.
Curtis, I think this is incredible. And just before you even are going into the system, I know you're pulling it up now. This is just spawning so many thought processes and ideas for anybody who's tuning in now live with us or after the fact on YouTube. And I think that, listen to what Curtis is saying. There is absolute massive amounts of gold and revenue that's being left on the table if you're not implementing some of these things in some form or fashion, if not all of them. And now I can really see and paint that picture, from ordinary to extraordinary in 30 days. I could see those results happening very, very quickly by applying these. And, Curtis is going to show the tool that's built specifically for this. But I love the fact that you mentioned, like, okay, if it's not AM cards, go somewhere and make this happen, right? Pick up the cards yourself and send them out. I mean, if you've got that time, that's fine. And same thing with a phone call, right? Make the phone call, send the text. But everybody knows into real estate, and Curtis, you've identified this and addressed this to the audience, but just to reiterate, it's all about leveraging our time and being there and being present and showing that we care without taking massive amounts of our time up, right? And because things fall through the cracks, relationships or follow-up, it's difficult when you're a busy professional, but it's a fundamental for growth. So I love everything you're saying and putting down here, Curtis. This is good stuff.
Awesome. Well, thank you for that. I do appreciate it. And, one of the elephants in the room when we talk about this, and people say, well, what about handwritten cards? And I'm like, you know what? If you're doing that, don't stop. You're already the top 1%. Keep doing it. If you want to implement AM cards as a complement to what you're currently doing, just because you might not have a sympathy card in this drawer, or congratulations on your baby boy in this drawer, and you're not going to go to CVS or Walgreens and print out a picture and then stuff it inside the card, you have the capability at your fingertips to be able to customize and make the cards impactful on the receiving end. And I'll tell you, there's another thing too, selfishly, it makes you feel good. When you're doing this stuff and they're texting you and calling you, it really lifts your spirits up. It makes you feel like you're doing more good. That's another thing that I love about, utilizing this system.
Well said.
So I'm going to dive into this, and you're going to have some questions too. So please be, because if you have the questions, I'm sure our audience are having the same type of questions. So let me dive in. I'm going to share my screen right now, and you're going to see the simplicity of what we built. If it's not simple and easy, you're not going to do it. It's not going to get done. So one of the cool things that we have the ability to do is you can simply grab your tablet or your phone and you can sign your name. Save it, and it's instantly in the system. So I recommend adding your spouse, your kids, business partners, whatever you want. If you're Uncle Joe, put an Uncle Joe in here. You can put as many different signatures as you want. And if you don't like your digital signature, you can grab a piece of computer paper. You can sign your name, take a picture of it with your phone. We convert it to an SVG file, remove all the background shadows and stuff. And it's just as if you were to handwrite that card. It's amazing. Wow. And so, and some people take it to the next level and really would like to actually handwrite their own letter. So you can write your own letter and put it inside the card. So there we go. Wow. We have that capability to take it to the extra mile if you wish. Now you can upload your own pictures. You can create drip campaigns. So like I said, you want to create next 5 years, birthday card going out, 5 different birthday cards, create it, boom, set it and forget it. They're getting birthday cards next 5 years. You have the ability to do that if you want. Set up post-sale drip campaigns and stuff. You can upload a client list. Let's say you have a client appreciation event coming up and you want to send a personal invitation with a real first-class stamp on it in an envelope. You can create the invitation. Some people use Canva or whatever they want, bring that image right in, and then it's done. They attach the template to the list. Done. We print it, stuff it, stamp it, and mail it out. And we can mail it anywhere in the world because we have international postage as well. Beautiful. So now let's take a look at the cards. So we have tons of different kind of cards in here, all different types of sections. We have, like, for instance, here's a funny one that this may or not be your style, but I'll sell your home quickly for top dollar. I shit you not. I had an agent in Louisiana send this out to 150 people in their database. And they were saying the inventories, this was last summer, the inventory is very low. I have a lot of buyers. If you're open to having a conversation about selling your home, this is the time. People are posting this card on Instagram and Facebook, and they were tagging him, and people were calling and texting him. This card led to 7 contracts in 30 days from sending the card. Cost him about $300, and he had 7 contracts. So we also have ones like 14 safety tips every for sale by owner needs to read. And this is a great one too if you want to prospect for sale by. Actually, when I had my real estate license about 4 years ago, I was just messing around. I don't have it now, but I landed a couple of listings from sending this because it scared the crap out of the for sale by owners. Like, you never let somebody in your house because you don't know who they are. Set an appointment, have them come back, leave your back door unlocked in case you have to escape. Don't park your car in the driveway. They could block you in. Hide your medication, that kind of stuff. And we have all different, like, how about 65 ways to help your home sell faster? They might not think about, there's a 3-part series that all you have to do is add the branding on the back. So we have some designed already specifically for real estate. And then you can create templates like happy birthday, like we talked about. How about happy home anniversary? And you want to put a picture of a home on the inside. Let me just have a picture of a home in here that I'll throw on the inside just to show you. Here we go. So maybe this is the home they just bought. Throw that on the inside. And then you want to put branding on the back. We have actually a design team that can help with it as well. But I'll show you Barry Jenkins with YLOPO and helps out with Follow Up Boss as well. And
hey, Barry.
Here he is. So we did his branding. So we can throw that on the back and create a card like that. Really simply and easily save it as a template so you can send it out over and over again. And for anybody that uses Follow Up Boss, it's an embedded app where you right on the inside, you can send a card right from Follow Up Boss. You just click the template you want to send and click send, and you can create automation as well. Like based off of a stage change, we can automatically trigger cards to go out instantly just by switching that over. So I will give a little props to Follow Up Boss because they're amazing. And I've seen a lot of customers come our way from there. And then how about this? Like, how about I go into cards and I want to do a follow-up? Like, for instance, this call right here. I like to have fun with the cards. So when I do AM cards demos, I send this one. Just for the record, you're awesome.
Oh, that's great.
And then I upload custom pictures.
Who's that guy?
Who is that guy? So I love having fun with this. And then there's my signature. There's my a little message on the inside. So think about after a listing appointment. What about listing appointment follow-up? Thank you for taking the time to meet with me, and I really appreciate the opportunity to earn your business. If we haven't If you have some questions between the time that we spoke and now, let's meet up for a cup of coffee and throw a Starbucks gift card in there, because you can include Amazon, Dunkin' Donuts, Starbucks. We have $2 bill. We have gourmet fudge brownies, birthday candles, gourmet cookies. Like, so there's a lot of different opportunities to be able to do that. So I'm showing you the simplicity because you can grab pictures, quickly add them to the cards, save them as templates, create automation around it as well, like drip campaigns. But what I talked about before was pick one and be intentional about being better at one thing. And if that one thing is birthdays and anniversaries, start going back through your database and updating that. And in the meantime, what I would recommend is start time blocking appreciation marketing once a week.
I love that. When you talk about the appreciation marketing, and again, there's so many different things that anyone on here can latch onto, but that really resonates with me in a lot of different ways coming from a digital aspect, is looking at the purposeful prospecting, right? Is to reach out to people in a meaningful way in a life-changing sort of scenario. And, you know, for instance, if my real estate professional that I work with had done exactly what you had said. We just made an announcement that we're having a baby boy, which is very exciting. And the thought would be, if they were doing what you said, Curtis, they took a screenshot, they put that on a card and they sent it my way, that's going to be impossible for it not to stick out in my mind in a very big and meaningful way. So, I mean, I can't stress the fact enough that what you've said here is game changing, but you got to do the work. I mean, you can lead a horse to water, you can't make them drink. And the thought is that there's no excuses. You've developed the processes, you developed the tools, the simplicity behind it is there. Everyone in this industry knows that it is about those touch points of meaningful relationships to growth. So again, this is an awesome conversation, Curtis. You're literally dropping the breadcrumbs to success for anybody who's looking for them. This is great stuff.
And I did mention before, there's some do's and don'ts around it. When you say appreciation marketing, one of the elements of it is reaching out in kindness and celebrating, appreciating, or recognizing without expectation of getting something in return. And there's a lot of trainers out there in real estate that are talking that, and they say, never miss out on the opportunity to ask for the referral, to ask for the business. I disagree. And I do believe that there's a time and a place to ask for the business, but not when you're celebrating, appreciating, or recognizing. So if I was to send you a card that said, hey, Greg, congratulations on baby boy that's coming. So happy for you. And at the bottom, I put PS, the greatest compliment in the world is a warm referral. Oh, by the way, Greg, never too busy for your referrals. It completely negates the message. Chapter 5 of our book is called Chocolate Frosted Dog Crap. And what we talk, when we say is that, it's from afar, it looks like a piece of cake with chocolate with frosting on it. And then it comes up in front and I put it in front of you instantly. You can smell it. It's insincere. It's disingenuous. It goes in the garbage. It's crap. It's what we call sending out propaganda.
Wow. I love that. You're so right. And Curtis, I agree with you. And hopefully that doesn't offend anybody on here, but I agree with you 100%. I think that there is a time and a place, and it's never always the right time to ask for that referral or for that business. And I agree. I have conversations. I'm sure you do, Curtis, and I'm sure everybody else who's on here. When you have a deep, meaningful conversation with a stranger or a referral or a colleague, you don't want to taint that conversation. You don't want to go, all right, well, that was a really heartfelt, life-changing kind of deep conversation, not a face value sort of how's the weather, how are the sports combo. And now all of a sudden you just say, hey, but when you need me, let me know. It just kills it. You said that perfectly. And
just put yourself in the receiver's shoes. And before you send something, say, what kind of energy would you be if you were receiving that? And if it doesn't land with a warm and fuzzy, then just throw it away. Don't put that. Put it in there with more heartwarming and more, because there's a time and a place to ask for the business. Like, for instance, after a closing, they're ecstatic. There's just so much joy. Maybe you let them know at that point that referrals are the lifeblood of your business. It would mean the world to you if they could, maybe a testimonial. Could you please do me a favor and write a review online? Are you okay if I post that review on my website? Oh, by the way, Greg, I stay in touch with my clients about once a quarter. I always like to try to call because I just never know if maybe you bump into somebody at church, or maybe you have a relative that's moving into town. And I'd like to just stay in touch with you and ask you, just in the event you know of somebody that's looking that I could help serve, would that be okay if I reached out to you? And then you get the permission. Now it's not making the phone call. Hey, how's Johnny doing in Little League? I see Samantha's at gymnastics. Oh, by the way, do you know anybody that can buy, sell, or invest in real estate? It's like,
Come
and so
on.
I always like to try to bring that into talking about that, because it happens all the time. And I don't want you to be, that's the type of situation that somebody's not going to open that door behind them. And they're not going to send you off because they're like, oh, it smells.
I'm so glad you addressed that, Curtis. And I know that that's resonated with so many people, myself included, for sure. So no, this is great. So where else do you want to go with this, Curtis? I know
well, I do want to share this real quick, is that I know that there's going to be talks about like what they can do to help get set up. And I just want to go over the membership for AM cards really quickly, because it's actually not on the website. So I know that Jake posted it in there. We do have a membership option that for people that see this on LabCoatAgents, eventually we'd like to put this on the website so anybody can get started with it. But our membership's $39 a month. And we grant you wholesale pricing of $1.57 per card plus postage. So just over $2 for a really high quality card, fully customized with a first class stamp on it for just over $2. Now we're going to, every month that you're a member, we're actually going to bonus you, put $40 of credits in your account every month. So $39, we're going to put $40 of credits in your month. The credits roll over every month for a year. If you don't use them right away, you end up using them during the holidays. You can use your credits to send the gourmet fudge brownies, as well as the cards and some of the other gifts. You can have drip campaigns, personal branding, and there's no contracts, no commitments. Jake posted the website. There's a specific URL they will not find on our site. We do have one other one that we just launched recently, and this is for the agent that's spinning a lot of plates, busy, loves this idea, and just needs some hand holding and help get it set all up. And we can help, our VIP team can do this. This is on our regular AM Cards website, $295 one time. The first month of membership is included. And then we're going to lay out the back of the card branding like I showed you what we did for Barry. We're going to do vertical, horizontal. We'll do 5 done for you post-sale templates. So we'll create it, the language. You just have to add your signatures. We'll upload it into your system, do an execution Zoom call, send you a box of 6 gourmet fudge brownies and a signed copy of appreciation marketing, and no contracts, no commitments. So this is for this is more kind of like, I like it. I'm going to put my toe in the water. I definitely would like to test it out. This one's like, I love it. I want to jump right in. Let's get a couple of systems up and running and not put it on the back shelf and let it sit for a few months. So that's kind of what that is. So I'll stop my share and then we can, take it wherever you would like to, because I want to just touch on that briefly.
No, Curtis, this was great. And again, that was going to kind of allude to my questioning into, pricing and things. And Jake has put in the special link. So anybody who's tuning in, it is here now live with us, and I'm assuming that it's going to be on the YouTube variant. If you're tuning in, or if you only caught a part of it, you can watch that on the YouTube channel and then connect. But no, Curtis, I guess what's the best way, if people really like what they're seeing and going through? Obviously, they can sign up and they can get to you directly with the link. But is there any other place that you prefer people to just do some research and check you out and connect with you and learn more?
We actually have a Facebook community we just started literally last week. It's AM Card Success Community, and we're going to be posting multiple things per week, a little tips and tricks. I also own referralsecrets.com, and Referral Secrets is something inside of your AM Cards account. We post the 7 most powerful referral secrets and how to utilize these referral secrets to generate more repeat and referral business. So those are actually all on the website, referralsecrets.com as well. But I would say connect with us with AM Cards Community. And I also want to ask you this, Greg, before we wrap up, because you own an amazing company with Lion Bolt Media, and you're doing a lot of stuff online. Can you share with me a little bit more about what you do? And then also, because what we do with AM Cards is a different niche and kind of more taking what you do online and bringing it offline. But share a little bit more, if you don't mind.
Yeah, no, I'm always open to share that for sure. I appreciate you opening that door. When it comes down to it, Curtis, one thing that you really said that stuck out to me, and I'm always saying this to real estate professionals around the world, is, you got to look at it from a standpoint is how are you taking, you know, a digital relationship or a physical relationship and then bringing it more into the real world. And I love what you guys do. You know, it's not flooding a mailbox, or when I say an email box, right? That's going to get deleted or just ignored because it's bombarded. But how often, ask yourself, how often do you get a physical, you know, card in the mail? And those always stand out. I mean, so to me, I love that thought process. And we're always preaching, you've got to look at it from an automation and a scale standpoint is how can you grow your presence? How can you grow your brand and saturate a market with people who can connect with you in a meaningful way and turn into real, honest relationships, getting to know, like, and trust each other, and then end up working. So at Limebolt Media, that's really what we do on a digital scale, right? We take the digital presence and saturate markets through brand awareness, content creation, really understanding who you're speaking to and connecting with, and weaving words and messages through photos, videos, copywriting, and essentially really connecting. Now, once you do that, then it turns into hand raising, it turns into relationships, and then ultimately lead generation and conversion to close transactions. But you said earlier, which I'm in full agreement with, no branding or leverage points or automation, any kind of saturation, it's useless without the tools and the processes, because you can get bombarded, you can get overwhelmed, and there's sometimes just too much. There's too many shiny objects. And it's important to focus on those things that really yield a return. You had mentioned and used one example, which was beautiful, right? $300, 7 closed transactions. I mean, at the end of the day, as we're talking to real estate professionals, it's about the ROI, right? And
Yes.
we're
Yes.
trying to help and serve, but at the same time, you got to feed yourself so you can feed more and serve more. So yeah, Limebolt Media is all about the digital side, brand awareness and lead gen for conversion. But it's got to be more than just the typical stale message. Can't be the same conversation that every real estate professional is having across the country. It has to be meaningful. It has to be connecting, and it has to be genuine and true to who you are and your brand, and articulating that to the people that matter, buyers or sellers. So
that's amazing. And I kind of like what you're doing is, you know, talk about kind of, it's almost like casting a net. You know, you cast a net out there, and then as you're bringing that net in, and you're kind of helping bring in those quality leads that could be turned into relationships, and then and kind of like once that person's in a database and you're saying, that's where kind of AM cards can kind of come in, is because, you know, staying in touch and turn that stranger into a friend and a referring customer, a referring past client and whatnot. It's almost like the difference between casting a net and maybe spearfishing, because the spearfishing is like, it's more targeted and it's more intentional with your direction and stuff. So, you know, that's the tough part. Sometimes people are looking at this and they're so bent on, if I spend this, what is my ROI? And at the end of the day, you also need to take a look at and say, if relationships are important to me and building, strengthening, creating are, sometimes it's harder to quantify, you know, what you're sending and earning the repeat and referral business, you know? So it's just, you know, that we get that from time to time, but you know, we attract the people that, that's AM cards. They attract good people, kind people. It's like little puppy dogs and babies, you know, it's like mean people don't send cards.
No, they don't. Well, but to that point though, Curtis, I mean, you had mentioned it perfectly, is light attracts light. And what we put out into the world, you know, generally is reciprocated in certain forms or fashion. And, you know, everyone knows if you do the right thing the right way, the business and the money will come. But you've got to have that intentionality up front. You've got to really kind of systematize and prioritize your highest and best uses. And to your point with AM cards, and very specific, it's great to be known and branded. It's great to have massive market saturation. It's wonderful to have a ton of leads flowing through. But to your earlier point, it's not about the quantity, it's about the quality. But even if you have great quality contacts, sphere of influence, or brand new lead generation or contacts, you have to have touch points. You have to have the ability to communicate on a continual basis at the right places, right time, with anyone and everyone in your life and in your world. So when we talk about our ISA department, the phone calls, the text messages, the emails, where AM cards is a beautiful marriage of that, is that's phone calls, text message, and emails and follow-up. But imagine if you added an additional layer to every lead that you're generating, to every past contact that you have, and have cards going out automatically through your CRM. You had mentioned Follow-Up Boss, which I love. I was going to ask you, any other relationships? Is that an exclusive? I don't want to step on anybody's toes.
No, that's not exclusive. There's actually several other CRMs, and we'd love to work and open up the door with a lot more. Zapier works with a lot of them. So like if a lead comes in and they have a name and a mailing address, it could zap out a greeting card, and we have that capability to do it on our website. You can look at that. And if there's anybody that has any connections with the right people, and we can connect our dev team with theirs, and we can work something out, because we're always looking to make it easier, more accessible to be able to use this. And I will wrap up with this, and I'll send this because we talked about leads. You know, there's a difference between a lead and a referral. See, you get a lead by what you do. You earn referrals by who you are and how you're showing up in people's lives. I'm going to say that again, because you get a lead by what you do, but you earn referrals by who you are and how you show up in people's lives. And it doesn't stop at the closing. Really, also, it's how you show up in their lives after the closing too. So it's, you know, a lot of people do a great job because they're working with them. It's a lot of communication. They close the deal. Oh, I gave you my closing gift. Goodbye. And then here's another opportunity. When you list a home, when the buyer buys that home, market to them. Send them a happy home anniversary card because you know their agent's not doing it. So pick up them as a future client as well. Possibility. So I think the possibilities are endless with what we do, but think about my lead, what you do. You generate online leads, or, you know, I'm the realtor. You don't want to be the realtor. You want to be my realtor. My realtor comes with a different level of energy and not 3 other names.
Gosh, you know, Curtis, you've dropped so much information and knowledge, and I know we're only scratching the surface. We are at that time, and
yes,
I can't thank you enough for jumping on here and LabCoat and really just sharing your knowledge and what you've built and how you've helped so many real estate professionals and entrepreneurs grow and scale. And I can't encourage everybody enough who's tuning in. If you've missed it, if you tuned in a little late, you can watch the whole thing on YouTube. We'll have links. We'll also have links for the special offer directly with AM cards that Curtis had mentioned too. But anything in closing, Curtis, before we wrap anything up, or are we good?
No, I think we're good. I just saw a comment or a question came in. How many cards can you send out for 40 a month? Well, if you do the math, it's probably about 18 or 19 cards or so that you can send. And anything above that is just $2. And I think it ends up being $2.15. That's including the stamp, the card, the envelope, everything. We do it all for you.
Love it. Great question. May I ask the cost with a brownie?
It depends. We have a pack of 2, a pack of 6, and a pack of 12. And it also varies if you're a member or if you're retail. Retail, a card, you can send 1 card at a time for $4.40. I mean, that's less than $3 for the card. And you can't even get a card at the store for less than $3 anymore. So now this is customized, and you can do it from your couch or your office.
Love that. And great questions, by the way. And yeah, just anybody wants to tune in and jump in and reach out anyway. Curtis has left everything and then some, but can't thank you enough, my friend. It was an honor to hang out with you for this last hour. And yeah, I can't thank you enough for taking the time.
Well, thank you so much, Greg. This was awesome. I had a great time. And thank you, Jake, for hopping in here as well.
Jake, you're the best. We appreciate you. And everybody out there in LabCoat world, LabCoat Nation, we love you. Thank you, as always, for tuning in. And we'll catch you on the next live webinar through LabCoatAgents. Take care.
Thank you.